Adversity and challenges. Yes, that is today's topic. I am super excited that you guys are joining me today. My name's Angela Brown, and I'm here to share with you some ideas that we're going to unpack from the insights and wisdom of Omuugn. This is a book that we're going through together. We're visiting this session every Saturday morning for about an hour. And today we're talking about challenges, the challenges of life and how inevitable they are. Joining me today, I am so excited that we have the author himself, Omuugn, to unpack some of these ideas for us and to share with us his wisdom and insights live. So if you're joining us, please jump in the comments, leave your comments and your questions, and we'll answer them. Please help me welcome today our very special guest, Omuugn, somebody who is highly evolved, and they have a choice that is on the side of the benefit for the good of all mankind. And then you have someone else that's a part of the decision-making process that's just very selfish and maybe narcissistic. That says, no, 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 we're going to do it my way. And it's maybe not in the best interest of all mankind. How do you negotiate and navigate those kinds of situations?
That's an involved question. We all need to be involved in the selection of our candidates. And one of the problems that we have is that a candidate will run on a certain platform, but once they get to Congress, because of the lobbying and because of the money and because of different kinds of pressures, they will not follow the platform that you elected them to. And so they will vote one way because their party votes that way. And what they have promised to do in running for office, they don't do. They do something else. So there needs to be a way of holding people to their platform. If people have a platform and you elect them to that platform, you expect that platform to be carried out. And so the way our system works is backwards. And we need to have a way of holding people accountable for their responsibilities.
If that's true, and we take that all the way back to our own individual lives, then we go back to trying to create a situation in our lives that is the best user experience, if you will, for everybody involved in our own personal challenges. I think it goes back to having a personal code of ethics in our own business. And this has become really important for us. This is our code of ethics, and this is how we behave under all circumstances. If there's a plan B, if we get voted off for whatever the situation is and we have to alter what we're doing, we want to still protect the brand. We want to go back to our code of ethics. This is how we behave. This is how we believe. And if we have to make a concession, it's going to err on this side because this is who we are. And I think it's really important that we realize in our own personal lives, even at a personal level, you can have a code of ethics. You can have a baseline that says, if I have to make a decision, I'm going to err on this side because that's going to be the least damaging of the outcomes possible.
Yeah, we've kind of had a philosophy in a lot of areas where it doesn't really matter what you do in your private life. What matters is the decisions that you make in your public life. We've had presidents that are really rascals in their personal lives, and we expect them to be a good, solid president. But there's, like you say, there's actually a tie between your personal ethics and your public performance. You can't expect a rascal to be an ideal leader and have really ethical programs because they're unethical in their own life. So we should be very selective in who we have run our companies, our communities, our school boards, our local governments, all the way through. Instead of being a nation of spectators, we should be a nation of people who are aware and involved in all of the decision-making processes so that we can analyze and make the best choices in everything that's going on. Right now, there's this difficulty in schooling, trying to force schools to do certain things and adopt certain procedures and policies and force them on everyone else, where a lot of parents are really offended by that because they want to be more involved in the types of materials that are being utilized, and they don't want boys competing with girls and using their change rooms and different things. I think we're starting to really see a backlash from the wokeness of our society. The people moved in a trendy sort of way in that direction. And now we're realizing that's really not the best direction to go. That's not the best way to handle these situations.
I do remember when I was young, and this goes back to something you said a minute ago. You made a really interesting observation that kind of stuck with me for the rest of my life up to this point. And you said, money, fame, and power will only make you more of who you are. And that really stayed with me. I always looked at if you are a rascal and you have more money and more fame and more power, it's going to make you more of a rascal. It's not going to make you less of a rascal, and it's not going to change who you are intrinsically from the inside out. It's only going to expose you or promote you.
That's a good principle.
But it does make us stop and think. And it goes back to we were talking about leadership. And I think it's really important as a leader because leaders have a responsibility that the average person doesn't have. And that is that the weight of the authority that you carry just in your common words. I know as a parent, your children will just by nature of who they are want their parental approval. And so being a parent, the things that you say to your kids carry more weight of authority than if a sibling were to say the exact same thing to their brother or sister. And so, but because dad said it or because mom said it, it carries this higher weight of authority. And I've had to be really careful about that in my own business. Because when I say something, let's say that it's bad news, I'm bringing bad news to my team. If I bring bad news, it carries so much more weight of authority than if one of the other team members said, hey, there's bad news. And so I try to be really careful about I'm the one that brings the praise. And then I let my director of operations be the person that brings bad news so that it's not me saying, oh, there's doom and gloom. And everyone's like, oh, no, this is the end, you know? And I think you have to be really careful being a leader. I think you have to be incredibly careful about the responsibility of your role. Because if you're not, you could send people into a tailspin and they start riots and they do all kind of crazy things saying, "Oh, well, my leader told me." I have absolutely thrived off of this conversation. I've learned a lot about accepting challenges in a way that helps us grow and not stagnates our progress. So I absolutely love that. I want to encourage everybody that's watching this now or on the replay that you leave your challenges in the notes below. Let us know what you're working on and some of the stuff you're working through. So keep us posted on what it is you're working through. I absolutely love these conversations. So please join us again when we go through the insights and wisdom of Omuugn. And like I say, I love having Omuugn here to unpack these ideas and concepts with us. So thank you so much for your time today. This was awesome.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll see you guys again next week. Have a great week.